Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Ola. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to welcome a man of two powerful roles, publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com and High Chief Odokwetu of Aide Ogbese, Ondo State. Whether in the newsroom or in the kingdom, is always a sharp edge ahead. Give it up for the legend, Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. It's good to be back. Can you hear me too?
I can hear you. Usually you have a little smile on your face as I'm talking, but today it seems like it was frozen. So I wanted to make sure.
It's because of the situations that the world is facing, and we share in that humanity. Whatever, whatever affects human civilization by way of death, by way of war, crisis, whatever, it diminishes. Whatever happens in such a way diminishes each of us because we are part of that global tapestry, so to say. So that said, good to be back. Just that, I'm a little bit sober today, and
I understand.
in a while, all the details would unfold. Thank you very much for bringing me back, Ola.
Understood. Yes. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about the BENUE Massacre. So, but before we get into that...
Not just BENUE Massacre, of course, you know that scores of people must have been annihilated because of the face-off between Iran and Israel at the moment. But on a personal note, at SharpEdgeNewsTV.com, we have a developing situation, and I will hint on it very soon. Thank you.
All right, great. Let's go ahead and jump right into the special. Why don't we just do that?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do not know if you can lay hold of an article I did a few years back as a managing editor of the news organization where I was a co-editor. Precisely, I was the managing editor at pointblanknews.com. At that time, a crime reporter, a journalist, got in touch with us, and we investigated certain claims and issues together in Nigeria, leading to the alleged involvement of the wife of one of Nigeria's most notable, most well-known journalist and news publisher. The owner of Vanguard newspaper, Pa Samuel Amukakpemu, who this last week turned 90 years and it's been celebrated everywhere, and we join everyone in congratulating him for turning 90 years. But the journalist who contacted us then and who worked with us and who later moved over with us when we started at SharpEdgeNews.com, Mr. Steve Oguchinua, had alleged that the wife of the publisher of Vanguard newspaper in Nigeria was involved in alleged ritual killing. And that became a huge scandal. The decision that I took as the managing editor and as the gatekeeper concerning that particular news report was that journalism is not a court. We do everything possible to put people under scrutiny. We allege, we investigate, we disseminate reports about people in power. We speak truth to power. So why should we also be insulated from being investigated? So when that report landed on our desk, we went for it. And in the course of that, many people decided to declare us their targeted adversaries. But thank God, because when Mr. Steve Ogushinwa was paraded on the front page of Vanguard newspaper as the face of fake journalist, fake online journalist, I responded with an article titled Anatomy of a Smear. And my brief thesis there was that, or is that, the fact that some people use the platform of traditional newspaper or print medium, traditional electronic medium of television and radio, that cannot be a reason for thinking that they are better than those of us who used the platform of new media or the internet. After all, many of us also trained with these traditional tools and platforms, and we still write very well. So my argument there is that a journalist is a journalist, whether you use internet or not, and that it was a smear. I consider it slanderous that Mr. Steve Ogushinwa was being mischaracterized and slandered and defamed. And our organization too was being defamed as a fake news outlet. More than 15 years on, we are still here. But curiously, Mr. Steve Ogushinwa has disappeared from the face of this earth. His family tried to trace him, but lately we got a first-hand confirmation through one of the attorneys at law, one of the lawyers that worked on that matter, the respected Chief Giwa Amu of Giwa Amu and Co. in Ikeja, Lagos. We got a confirmation that Mr. Steve Ogushinwa was indeed murdered. He was not just murdered. His first son too was killed. The circumstances of their disappearance and eventual death, eventual murder, remain a mystery. So, food for thought for everybody. I have listened to the exploits of senior professional colleagues like Senator Femi Ojuju. His new book is so instructive on the present dangers and enormous risk confronting journalists in the cause of practicing their preferred profession and vocation. That book, Adventures of a Guerrilla Journalist, is so instructive. So even when we ventured into this profession, right from my secondary school days, we knew the risks involved, and nothing anybody has done would intimidate us to back off. I'm not accusing of Shipemu Amuka or his wife Onyindamola, because so many lies were told them. I have never met Mrs. Onyindamola Pemu Amuka in my life. Yes, so a part of my ancestry would trace back to Owo, particularly Ijebu Owo, the royal family of Ojomoluda. But I never lived in Owo. In fact, I speak Akure dialect. I was born in Aide Ogbese, and I'm a traditional chief in Aide Ogbese, Akure North local government. In fact, the number 3 in the royal hierarchy of that kingdom. So when people started saying trash about me having had an encounter with Mrs. Onyindamola Pemu Amuka before, let me say categorically here, there is no personal animosity between us. But for those of us who have this creed, code of ethics as journalists, and when things are alleged, instead of us stating our story, our side of the story with clarity, we resort to underhand tactics. That is not good enough. I move from that issue. But what I'm saying here is that Nigerian authorities must do everything possible to unravel the circumstances leading to the death, the initial disappearance of Mr. Steve Ogushinwa and his eventual death and that of his first son. People have linked all kinds of stuff to it. I'm leaving it open because I'm not an island of wisdom or knowledge. I know there are people who are eminently qualified to investigate as well as I can. Let us start with this. Happy birthday to Baba Samuel Kwemu Amuka. And I appreciate the interventions made by Akirogun, His Excellency, Chief Segun Oshoba, on this matter. As a matter of fact, when I met him at the 90th birthday of the late governor of Lagos State, former civilian governor of Lagos State, Chief Lateef Kayode Jakonde, we spoke extensively about this. He eventually autographed his personal autobiography for me. And I'm so appreciative of their interventions, but I'm so curious that no controversy, no disagreement should be so deep as to warrant the disappearance and the death of any journalist. That is that. Now, we are setting up all kinds of universities all over the place. So is the case of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I hope the principal officials of all these universities pay attention to where each student on their campuses, where they go, what may have happened to them. There is a developing story out of Akure as I'm talking to you now. There is one Mr. Famubode, also known as Two Men. He operates a sales outlet at Olukayode Computer Village in Akure. He lured an innocent student who just turned 18 last April out of Fute and framed him up. And I have all the facts. And we are engaging lawyers to defend the young man. He framed him up and accused him of stealing or selling to him stolen phones, which is an outright lie. This Mr. Famubode is in the habit of getting young people to work with him as techie or IT professionals. And when they form liaisons between him and prospective customers, they are given commission. And you know, Federal University of Technology, Akure, is so big about entrepreneurial applications. They do not just train students. In fact, they are so good, and we are so proud of that institution. I did not attend Federal University of Technology, Akure. I attended the then Ondo State University at Ado Ekiti, now known as Ekiti State University. But the point I'm making is that FUTA has done so well in serving the Akure community and the entire African continent in producing very productive graduates who have always played their part, making sure that they are relevant in ushering in a new economic and scientific, industrial, technological phase for us as a people. So it is that this Mr. Famubode, also known as Two Men, framed up this young FUTA student, got the unprofessional policemen at anti-kidnapping unit. It used to be known as SARS. Remember the notorious SARS that Nigerians protested against? They went for this young 18-year-old FUTA student, detained him, got him to, they prepared documents for him to sign under duress, saying that he's beholding, that he is supposed to make some financial remittance back to Famubode, who, is nobody other than a smart Alec, a fraudster, calling himself an IT or telephone retailer at Olukayode in Akure. So this is one situation we'll be monitoring, and I want the principal officials, the vice chancellor of FUTA, and principal officials, particularly the student affairs office of that university, the students' union government of FUTA, to get involved in this. And we are mobilizing all resources necessary to make sure that this young man who was so violated get justice. Akure community should pay attention to the way, students of higher institutions are treated when they come to our community. We cannot tolerate buffoons and extortionists thriving amongst us and giving our community bad image. No, this is beneath it. And Inspector General of Police must pay attention to this. There are bad eggs in the Nigerian police who are spoiling the reputation of that organization. Finally, on our special segment today, we must pay attention to the way we carry on as a people. All over the world, wrong standards are being set. In the past, you would say, oh, if the government in Africa or any third world country misbehaves, there would be some international setups to put them in check. The world we live in has changed. You have seen people, instead of projecting soft power by way of assistance, whether through disease control, making sure that grants and aids are given for good causes all over the world. You have seen the way they have tried to play themselves, projecting raw power, staging all kinds of shows to show martial. And that is why we will delve on why we continue to have rising incidents of violence and avoidable killings everywhere, whether in Benue, Plateau State in Nigeria, Israel versus Iran, and in America here, getting a distinguished senator handcuffed, having been made to go on all fours. Isn't it interesting that we live in a time like this? We will be here to continue to document, to chronicle, and make sure that we keep you informed. But wherever you are as an African immigrant, understand that SharpEdge News is a community. This is where you can connect and then make your feelings known. Do not get isolated. You have seen the way they are continuing to reel out lists of countries that, whose citizens will not be allowed to come to the United States. That also signals to us that the leaders back on the continent must make Africa right for our people to stay in. After all, these people lived off our sweat, lived off our wealth to become great. And so, if it's not going to, if the relationship between us is not going to be sustainable, anyway, they have always cheated us. Let them hold themselves, while Africa also broker great deals for us, its sons and daughters. That said, good to be back this week, Ola. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, do us a favor. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some more trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. I'll defeat Tinubu in 2027. Former aide Aliyu Audu, shocking declaration. I'm looking at a report here on Vanguard. It says, I left Tinubu's government to plot his 2027 defeat. And that's a quote. And I'm looking at a report by an Ayobami Okerinde. It says, a former senior special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on public affairs, Aliyu Audu, has revealed that he resigned from the administration in order to actively campaign against Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Speaking on Monday during an interview on Channels Television Sunrise Daily, Audu said his decision was driven by a matter of principle and conscience, as he accused the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) of attempting to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. It confirmed it on one hand, and on the other hand, it strengthened my resolve to not work for him in 2027. Audu said, referring to Tinubu's Democracy Day speech, where the president claimed to enjoy seeing the opposite in disarray. This is the quote from Tinubu, I guess. I couldn't, in all
Yes, he
honesty,
said it.
and in my conscience, okay, this is Audu talking. He said, I couldn't, in all honesty, and in my conscience, be in his government, knowing I'm plotting against removal in 2027, because I will, and by God, we will remove him. Collectively, Nigerians will install a leader that will be our chosen, not is chosen, not Emilokon, my turn, but our Lokon, our turn. In fact, Bugbo Lokon, all of us. So I'm sure you have your thoughts about this already. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts about this one?
yeah. My thoughts are so clear, and I will be precise. I've sampled views and opinions, perspectives on the speech given by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on June 12th, the anniversary of democracy in Nigeria, particularly that day that had been declared sacred and set aside to celebrate the election that was acclaimed and adjudged to be the fairest and freest in the history of Nigeria, of course, which was won unequivocally by the late business mogul and philanthropist, Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, the then Basharon of Ibadan, the then Babagua of Egbaland, the then Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yorubaland, and pillar of sports in Africa. Honestly, I could, my conscience will not carry that burden of giving President Bola Tinubu a pass mark concerning the speech he gave. Yes, at some point, he tried, particularly conferring national honor on some Nigerian legends who were in the vanguard of pro-democracy struggle crusade during the dark years, particularly under the late despot and dictator, General Sani Abacha. Why do I say this? I would not know the speechwriter that put together that crap. Yes, I call it a crappy piece. Because Tinubu did not only say that he's not in government to make, I do not know the elements he was talking about to make them happy. I should think part of the deal of becoming Nigerian president and running on the mantra of renewed hope is to spread joy, to give or guarantee happiness and right to life and safety of property. Of course, under him, you see what life has become. This morning, it took the Pope, Pope Louis XIV, to pray for BENUE people in Nigeria. You know, Nigerian officials, Nigerian government, consistently, sustainably, would deny that, Christians are not persecuted in Nigeria. Benue State is 99% Christian. And look at the wave of targeted killings, pogroms that have gone on there. I won't talk much about that because I suspect we are still going to dwell on that at some point. Yet, President Bola Tinubu could not give a speech that is, tailored at uniting all Nigerians. He said it gave him joy to see Nigerian opposition in disarray. I was talking of Watergate scandal in America. So what did Richard Nixon do in America of 1971 that Bola Tinubu has not done now? Because this is a confession from him that he wants to see the opposition in disarray. That in itself is immoral and, I dare say, unconstitutional, because opposition has got to thrive. Of course, I told you of the day I interviewed, then he was not a president then. He had attended one of these colloquiums to celebrate the birthday of literary titan, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka, at Museum Center in Lagos. And I came in from the United States. I asked him the question on, the suspicion, the popular sentiment from the public that there must be something in him on why he was bankrolling the election of persons all over Africa, particularly in Ghana then, Jonathan Mills. That was all I asked him. And when he answered my question, he ended up punching me in the chest. And I thank God, one of the people he has honored with whatever they gave, Professor Latunji Dari, our revered teacher of journalism and journalist, was the one who pacified me that day, because I felt violated. I almost felt like, oh, this is almost like a gangster in politics. And the style has not changed. It has not changed. Rhetorics that are unguarded, rhetorics that hit the polity up, and not really paying attention to proper governance and making it look like, a marathon of politics. That's why that speech is below acceptable standard. Now, what Mr. Aliyu Audu has said, is it going to be a surprise to me? Not at all. Of course, you have seen the event that transpired last week during the Northeastern caucus meeting of APC, where delegates from Borno, Adamawa, and probably Yobe, all of them, they met and they were endorsing, unconditionally, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, or Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the case may be, for 2027 race. And they forgot to give a mention to Vice President Shettima. That was the basis of the implosion that transpired at that forum last week. You see, we all express anxiety about the next minute, about the next hour, but all those things are firmly secured with our Creator. Let's think of the moment. So, has Bola Tinubu been able to really assuage the desires of Nigerians, their goals and objectives? So if an Aliyu Audu, I suspect that is Prince Aliyu Audu, the son of former Kogi State governor, the later elected governor of Kogi State. He must be the one that has now fallen out of what's it called? That has now removed himself from office as a special advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And just continue to watch. More people will drop off the team. if anybody thinks, oh, by defecting to APC is a done deal, that would guarantee President Tinubu a second term. Politics is not a straight line thing. That is one thing everybody should understand. The point I'm making here is that more of his so-called friends, associates, heads are still going to come out of that cabinet to really take a stand. Some of them will run against him. But whether from APC, PDP, or wherever, because of the business as usual disposition of our folks in Nigeria, I do not really have much trust in them. I interacted with activists and journalist Omoyele Sowore yesterday. We spoke, and from my interaction with him, I'm always really enthused and excited to see that more than anybody in the pack of so-called political aspirants in Nigeria today, that young man seems to get it. He understands, and I think he is better prepared than most of these gladiators. And that is where I am sticking my thoughts and expectations that
all right,
there will be some radical shift, and that a new generation is going to get on the block. So maybe one of them is this Mr. Aliyu Audu. Another person I've seen is the prince of Okene, the man that is into electricity and what have you. I'm trying to Prince Ado of Okene. There are so many of these people all over the place. Many of those youth we used to opt in, some of them have been compromised, they have been sucked in, but some people are still standing. I hope Mr. Aliyu Audu is being sincere, because in the past I've listened to some interviews in which he was really struggling to award laurel to Bola Tinubu for doing so well. And it was a struggle for him. His thoughts were not well coordinated, just because some of those things were mere public relations stunts. They couldn't go together, they could not stick together. So now it looks like he finally has his head cleared, and that if Tinubu is going to look at 2027 as a walkover, well, welcome to the real world. It's going to take a struggle. It's not going to be a free pass. And I've listened to people like Senator Babafemi Ojudu and so many other people. I'm watching events, and from my careful, I can carefully conclude that some people will, even if Tinubu will win, some people will give him a good run for his ambition and money. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please join the conversation. Let us know what your thoughts are about this. Please join the conversation in the comment section. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We will be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's invite President Donald Trump to the pulpit so we can have a word.
Okay.
Trump, I don't mind me.
Yeah, I like that.
Trump praises flop parade, calls it a huge success. I'm looking at a report here on the Daily Beast, but maybe I can play a quick video here. Let's give this a shot. Let's see you can.
From
Okay.
Disney and Pixar.
It's gonna be a quick ad, and then we'll be able to play the video.
Biggest,
Let's see
wildest,
here.
most awesome movie of the summer on the biggest screen possible.
Sorry about this, guys.
Disney and Pixar's Elio, rated PG, only in theaters Friday.
Okay,
It's
here we
a
go.
tremendous success with a fantastic audience. It was supposed to rain. They gave it a 100% chance of rain, and it didn't rain at all. It was beautiful. And so I asked if they gave it 100% chance, right? 100% it was going to rain like crazy, and it didn't rain at all.
Like crazy.
How did they predict 100 years out?
Like crazy.
And 50 years out, or 200 years out? They didn't do too well, the weather people, last night, but it was beautiful.
Always throwing shots at people.
And nobody actually predicted 100% chance of rain. Nobody predicted 100%
Ever.
It was only in his imagination, you know.
But you know, Trump cannot talk without somebody collecting stray bullets. Let me read this for you so you can speak on this.
Thank you.
Donald Trump claims flop military parade was a tremendous success. According to the Daily Beast, President Donald Trump deemed his multi-million-dollar military birthday parade a tremendous success on Sunday, despite it being dwarfed by the thousands protesting, which I saw some of them next to my house.
Millions.
Thousands protesting against his presidency on the same day. While speaking to reporters on his way to Canada for the G7 summit, Trump briefly reflected on the 8-block parade that celebrated the U.S. Celebrated the U.S.
years. 250 years of the military.
Yes. So, what should we know about this? Also, if you can speak on the protests, because I saw some of them. I saw people with hard hats. I saw disturbing stuff around town.
Yeah,
actually.
the truth of the matter is that from what's it called? Snapshots of reports that we distilled right at SharpEdgeNews.com. Maybe about, at most, maybe about 10,000 people attended the Donald Trump's rally. But the No King rally that was held all over the
No
US.
King. I saw the placards.
Yeah.
No King. What does the No King mean, please? Because I saw those placards everywhere.
Yeah, what it means is that he's been behaving like a king. He sees himself as King Donald Trump, and it is unconstitutional. It is, unlawful for. Americans do not worship any monarchy. Any monarch. The monarchical order is at variance with the Republican Constitution of the United States of America. So the American Revolution, the spirit of the American, rebuffs anything that talks of royal imperialism. So that is a settled fact. And why did our founding fathers in the United States, why did they fight that 1776 war? To throw away the burden of the overbearing imperialism of the British monarch. And you're talking of millions of people that have, that had to lay their lives down for that vision of no king. So when this wannabe authoritarian, this wannabe king, this wannabe monarch, this wannabe tyrant, this wannabe fascist decides to live by that vision, Americans firmly came out. Even the idea, the no king thing, the idea of a military parade is at variance with the morality and ethos of American institutions, what America lives for. Nobody has ever done that. The last time it was done, it rarely happens, it rarely occurs in this country. When it is done, 1991, to celebrate the end of Operation Desert Storm, the first Gulf War against Saddam Hussein. That military parade was to herald the victory of the U.S. military. And when it is done willingly, you will enjoy it. Look, you need to see video clips from when we used to celebrate, when we used to march at Accra Stadium as initially primary school pupils and later high school pupils. We did better than that in our coordination. You don't see the coordinated lot steps in the parade that occurred. It was a kind of mad protest against Donald Trump. That how dare you put your 79th birthday at the same time with the celebration of 250 years of the existence of the United States military. So those people were there with reluctance, and you will see the mechanism of self-correction while on parade, while doing march past, was never observed. You need to go and look at those clips. Donald Trump could not really afford himself a moment to see that people did not love the idea of him putting together a military parade to celebrate his 79th birthday. He injected himself, his own narrative, into the military story. And that earned him widespread disapproval. And then I've been watching and listening to some media analysis about this. Even you needed to see the body language between him and his wife, the first lady.
Well, their body language is always off. Something awkward is going on between them.
Yes, it's almost like that lady was expressing joy, and there was, almost like Donald Trump having this sad ambience inflicted on him. It was.
Let me share this with you.
Waste of close to $50 million.
Let me share a breaking with you so you can lump it together before we round this up, right? I'm looking at a report on TheGuardian.com. Says extremely disturbing and unethical new rules allow VA doctors to refuse to treat Democrats unmarried veterans. Doctors of Department of Veteran Affairs Hospital nationwide could refuse to treat unmarried veterans and Democrats under new hospital guidelines imposed following an executive order by Donald Trump. The new rules obtained by The Guardian also apply to psychologists, dentists, and a host of other occupations. They have already gone into effect in at least some VA medical centers. Medical staffs are still required to treat veterans regardless of race, color, religion, and sex, and all veterans remain entitled to treatment. Now, have you seen this at all? And
I've not seen it, but I can also extrapolate reasons behind it all. You should go online and see the reaction of veterans all over America. American ex-servicemen, military people. They all were almost coming out in unison against the way Donald Trump has been politicizing the military. They feel like he's acted with disrespect for the sacrifices they have always made. So if he's bringing up all this, but let me also tell you, the strong institutions there will stand. From our analysis, careful observation, and conclusions, it does not matter anymore whether that judge was really nominated by or appointed by
Trump or not,
by Republican Bush or Trump or not. He is really being whooped so badly through the judicial process.
Yeah, because those legacies are on the line.
Yes, it's almost taken for granted that the legislature has really requised or abdicated from. So talking of three equal arms of a government in America now is almost pointless, because it almost looks like the legislature, particularly the Republican wing of the U.S. Congress, is acting in cahoots with Mr. Donald Trump. But you see, the judiciary is standing firm. So it is not this new policy will not stand. Yeah. I can assure you of that. You have, sadly enough, because of the runaway rhetorics, the unguarded what you call it, the reckless, dictatorial, and tyrannical executive orders coming from him. You saw the effect in the way political killings are beginning to get on the rise. How do you justify, or how does anybody justify the senseless murder of the former Speaker of the Congress in state of Minnesota, alongside her husband, another congressperson, a lawmaker from Minnesota, is still in intensive care as a family unit and what have you. So all these things are coming from the unprecedented toxic political atmosphere in the United States at the moment. But word of caution here, these things do not recommend themselves for for anybody to imitate in all over the civilized world or developing countries of the world. This is almost certain. Whatever goes up will come down. And I was reviewing the story of the family of Adolf Hitler. His immediate family, his extended family. Do you know that apart from remnant of that family that had to change their name, and they took the personal decision that they would never sire any offspring? No, they are almost completely annihilated. Yet, Hitler was a man who had this warped vision of 1,000 years of his his consciousness, if not his reign. That only lasted for 12 years. So for this man doing all this, I've always cautioned him in my various presentations and analysis that he should be careful at 79 what his end is going to be, what his legacy would be. This thing has been doing everywhere: trade tariff, kidnapping and separating families. Trying to destabilize the entire world. Of course, part of his delusion was this thing that he said, that whatever he does in America rocks the world or rules the world. That in itself is delusional. And yes, so it's an interesting time to live in for each and every one of us. You wanted to say something?
No, I was just gonna say Donald Trump is the definition of thank God, say man no be God.
Honestly, you remember the name of that musician in Nigeria that God is not like man. They would not. If men,
that's all.
That's right.
I was just listening to
if Donald Trump were God, he would not allow rain to drop anywhere in the world, and
except
he would have turned the world to whatever, and which is what he's doing. I'm beginning to get curious on the way he will carry on at the G7 summit in Canada today. Of course, he will feel hot there. This isolationism, this triumphalism, whatever vision he has really made him a terrible person. And I think he can still do better. You don't give up on anybody. Somebody may be nudging him to understand that, look, this is too terrible. Look at the state of the economy and so many other things. And then the way he gets himself to things that are not his business. Yes, Israel, Iran, they are having their face off. He was trying to inject us as Americans into it.
Shout out to Marriott is in the chat. Mario is asking the question: did we discuss the travel ban? Nigeria is on the list.
Definitely, we are going to. Yes, we are going to get there.
Go ahead.
Yes, for example, how can somebody look at a whole giant of a country like Nigeria and you are saying you are slamming? Can anybody really contain Nigerians? Nigerians go wherever they want to go. They go wherever they want to go. You pull the lot of us, and really, thank you so much, Marriott. The truth of the matter is that we need to encourage more people to get connected to this platform. Is our community. We must own our citizenship. We are immigrants here, but we are fully integrated into this system. When I'm in Nigeria, in Aide, I'm Aichi. When I'm in America, I am an American. And the truth of the matter is that nobody can rub it on my face. I carry on with my Nigerian swag. And we were encouraged because when we come here, we bless this system. We bless this system. Forget the narratives. Okay, this thing that they always say about Nigerians being into fraud and whatever. What I know is that everybody has a story. I am not a fraudster. And I do not think Ola is a fraudster. Ola is never a fraudster. You, Marriott, you are not a fraudster. So where did Nigerians get together and then they have this committee of Nigerian fraudsters? It does not happen. If there is any fraudster on the block, now we have seen their true identity, like Elon Musk, like Trump himself, who's been convicted severally for that. And then they want to stick all kinds of things on us. This so-called travel ban, can you imagine, of all places, against Ghana? Ghana, that is a standard bearer all over the world about morality and constitutionalism. It's something that would not stand. And for all I can care, it will be there. It's run about 5 months already, which is 5 months of disaster and misrule. So ultimately, he will spend his time when he's gone. I only pray that I will not put America in bad debt, because for his intransigencies against some citizens in the United States, loss of job and all that, you can be sure that there will be litigations and all kinds of court fights over this, and America will look so bad concerning its financial shape.
All right.
So he is just creating crisis for everybody everywhere.
Yeah.
But I know the Nigerian spirit is it's irrepressible. And the truth of the matter is that it is targeted. The whole thing is racist, but it's making it to look like whatever. But you know, it thinks this place exists for Caucasian. Whether his own, because I have seen a true copy of his grandfather's birth certificate being handed over to him by the German chancellor the other day. So whether it's him or me, yes, we are all immigrants in this country, and that legacy cannot be destroyed by anybody. We all will stand united, which is the essence of the No King rallies. The No King rallies, Ola, you need to just put the figures together. Simultaneously, in more than 2,000 cities all over America, millions of us attended, and so that really drove his own
the parade,
delusional parade to mark
right.
79
let's
and in 79 years is just a dot on the line of our
let's round this.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, we almost carry on with high spirit and make sure that I'll make sure that we contain this man. You know, just a monster. Yes.
Thank you very much. Shout out to Blossom Show and Marriott in the chat. Hit like, share, subscribe, and follow. We have other trendy stories around the world. Let's move on. Join the conversations in the comments. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So I've been seeing this headlines for, I don't know, maybe a few about a little bit over 24 hours. Okay. Enough is enough. Tinubu orders security over BENUE Massacre. Over 200 gone, and over 200 gone with a question mark. I guess they don't know, but I'm looking at a report on Arise News. I'm just gonna read that. It sounds like a very sad situation happened in BENUE. At first, I was seeing very dark man on podiums making statements. I think one point I saw him crying, but I didn't really listen to the video. But maybe you can bring us up to speed. But let me read this thing here. It says Tinubu has directed security chiefs to bring security, lasting peace to BENUE, saying the recent killings in the state are depressing. President Bola Tinubu on Sunday described the recent killings in BENUE State as depressing. declaring this must stop as the government will not let the bloodletting in the state continue. Tinubu directed security chiefs to implement his earlier directive to bring lasting peace and security to Benue State. He called on Governor, how do you pronounce this? Hyacinth Aliyu to Hyacinth
Aliyu.
Yeah, to convene a meeting of the warring factions for lasting peace. Pope Leo the 14 on Sunday expressed deep sorrow at the murderous attack on Benue State, which resulted in the massacre of about 200 persons. The Pope spoke during Mass at the Vatican. He offered solemn prayers for the deceased and Nigeria in general. Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory called on Tinubu to declare war on criminal elements unleashing mayhem on communities in Benue State and other states in the region. Similarly, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Deputy Governor of Benue State Sam Ode, former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi, and Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria condemned the cold-blooded killings as shocking. Benue State youth converged at Wurukum roundabout early Sunday morning in protest against the unremitting carnage in the state by suspected Fulani herdsmen. They were later tear-gassed by policemen deployed to the area. The attacks in Benue State occurred at night between June 13 and June 14 in the town of Yelewata, Guma local government area. This day gathered that most of the victims were internally displaced persons receiving care at a hospital operated by a local Catholic mission. Tinubu, in a statement by his advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, renewed his order in the wake of the latest round of attacks, which had led to the death of many people. From what I recall, I'm going to stop reading, sir, but from what I recall, it took a while before the government even made it, before they were able to make a statement on this matter.
Yes,
what are they saying? What are they doing in that side of the world? Some people are now
Yelewata village. The Yelewata town is a nodal community along. The borderline between Benue State and Nasarawa State.
Okay, so it's on the northern side.
Yeah, Benue State is not central Nigeria. Of course, you will understand that Benue State is has this ethnic composition in Nigeria that is about the fourth largest tribe in that country. Whether you are talking of the Thieves or you are talking of the Idomas in Benue State, you're talking of a consequential number of people. Of course, you see the tragedy of that of our country, of our land of birth, Nigeria. The tragedy of that country is that we are so poor about numeracy. How to give, to give proper number. You see, some newspapers are saying about 100. Some are saying about 200. Some are saying
ABC News is reporting 100.
Well, it's like a downplay, and that in itself.
How do you downplay 200 from 100? It's the same thing. This is crazy.
It's because there is always this tendency on the part of us journalists sometimes not to want to aggravate or escalate the situation. The rule of self-censorship at times. But really, journalism is about facts. It's not about how you feel or what this will do to people. Yes, it can be mitigated, it can be managed such that it will not lead to a situation in which violence will be spread all over the place. But what more violence would anybody expect other than what Nigerians are already dealing with? So you were asking, it looks like, and the fact of the matter is that Nigerian government has been slow to act. But for the Pope, for the papal prayers and interventions and concerns expressed at Mass in Rome yesterday morning, you can be sure that for Tinubu, it will almost be like the game there, whether it's him or Jonathan or the one that just left, Muhammadu Buhari, they're always playing this game of Emperor Nero, being on the fiddle while Rome burns, while Rome is on fire. Their attention is on something else. You can imagine the vanity of self-glorification that's been on the whole place. Why Nigerians are yes. Yes.
Tinubu was quicker to declare the state of emergency on River State,
where there was no basis for it. Now, all these massive killings going on in places like Benue, Plateau, Borno, that is facing the threat of being recaptured and being overrun by Boko Haram again, did not attract his attention for state of emergency. You see the contradictions and the moral hypocrisy we're talking of there. And you mention all this. It would give some hypocritical democracy speech where it would where it will refer to some people as a busybody and people who should mind their business and what have you. Nigeria is the business of all of us. Mr. President, with due respect, Nigeria is the business of all of us. If you knew that you're going to have such a thin skin for criticisms and a constructive engagement, you should not have run for the office at all. I mean, so if the Pope what's it called, Pope Leo XIV, if he did not give a statement yesterday morning, Tinubu would still have been fiddling and what's it called, wallowing in this self-glorification of the wastage, the corrupt and fraudulent so-called 39 billion naira rehabilitation of international conferences. That international business, what's it called, International Conference Center, originally built by Babangida in 1991. You want to give it a facelift, so let us say you really want to refurbish, rehabilitate the place, give it a facelift. If you spend 1 billion naira, it would even be too much. It's a place that I've been to. It's not that the place is so dilapidated like that. I was still there in 2023. You would see my picture with that of Sheon Kimbaloye and all of us that were there for some official function. It's not that bad. It was built. It was built in 1991 to taste.
Wow.
2023, I was still there.
You mentioned that it's 99% Christians, though, right?
Yeah, Benue State is 99%.
Benue State.
So it's 99% Christian. That is where you have the largest concentration of Christians all over the north. And the myth has been put, for too long that, North is predominantly Muslim. It's all lies. It's a place that I know very well.
Yeah, that one is a lie,
Yes, that I traversed. I traveled a lot. So for people to now make it so, as if it's mere number, mere statistics, and not think of the dignity of the human person, the reality of the fact that these lives will never be replicated. So tomorrow now, on Wednesday, like Tinubu has promised, he's never been to any of these places as commander-in-chief to inspire, to know how Nigerians are faring. Deeply ensconced in the cocoon of Aso Rock presidential villa, isolated completely from the sufferings and pains that the average Nigerian is going through. Now he will go there on Wednesday. And of course, there will be this boring speech. You cannot imagine that even when the chief of army staff went there the last time, he refused to meet with the locals, the traditional rulers, and what have you. He just came briefly, and then breezed out of the state. This is what they have been doing. And people are dying all over Nigeria, whether it's in Aide or Gbese, because there is this false narrative that Ondo State is firmly secured now. It's all lies. People in recesses, in inner communities like Kashemola, where Fulanis have just gone to kidnap 3 people. They have not been released yet. And yet they said Ondo State is at peace. Nowhere is at peace in Nigeria. This is the point we're making. Nigeria is under siege. And not doing something will never be an excuse. But you know what? There is a disconnect. The military that are supposed to salvage the situation, they've been engaged for police duties for too long. The military that is supposed to enjoy the cooperation of Nigerian citizens with, by way of being given active intelligence or actionable intelligence, because this military has always applied, what's it called? Koboko to the back of Nigerian citizens. Nigerians do not trust them. Look at the case of the FUTA student that I highlighted in our special report in our intro. A policeman cooked up stories against an innocent 18-year-old student of Federal University of Technology, Akure. So tell me where the citizens of Nigeria, how they are going to ever trust the Nigerian police with useful intelligence. The citizens are so scared of these people. They are scared of their leaders. They are scared of law enforcement. They are scared of the military. So all kinds of Nigeria now is just tottering. I pray the country will not fall. And I have this supreme confidence that Nigeria is not going to fall. But the point I'm making here is that the attitude of people that are elected into offices in Nigeria should change. The attitude of the military people should change. The attitude of the police should change. There must be this synergy, this cooperation between ordinary folks, common folks, and the larger majority of what's it called? Of the people who run, who are in power. And what is more, these people come from nowhere. They remove people from their villages. They exterminate. They kill, and then they put their own signpost on those lines. So since that, there is this situation in which we know that ghosts are not the ones occupying the lands where legitimate people have been displaced. The military should go there, give a hot chase. This talk of, they are not allowed to do more than police duty. It ought to be more than that. There must be legislation. Instead of wasting time on how to hunt down Natasha, on how to make sure that Fubara does not come. This is where the action lies. This is how Nigerians will know that there is a government. But to continue to just do round tripping on currency, getting allocation every month, and then doing nothing for the people, it is not going to do anything other than disenchantment and what is it called? Rejection from vast majority of Nigerian citizens. I hope there will be peace in that country in our own time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Join the conversations. This is just sad. Join the conversations in the comment section. Join the conversations. Truly, enough is enough. They need to do something about this.
It is. And when you tell the people in Nigeria, the government in Nigeria, that these things are targeted at a section of the country, Christians, indigenous native tribes, and what have you. They are telling you that is what it is.
I think we should advocate.
It's a genocide. It's a genocide.
Yeah, we should advocate for them to keep the country safe.
That's right.
Keep the country safe. Protect the people. Protect the properties.
It also calls for concern, and it's so disheartening. It breaks anybody's heart to find out that these murderous invaders, Janjaweeds or whatever they call them, or Fulani herdsmen, you know what they do? They go to the what do you call
hospitals?
it?
They said they went to a Catholic hospital.
Yes, all over the place. Even where internally displaced people are IDP camps. Yes, where they are, where those people are peacefully, they went for them. They have wiped off generations. There are families that you won't find anybody surviving there anymore.
Wow.
Why?
That's sad. That's sad. Yeah. All right.
That said, BENUE State used to be the food basket of Nigeria. Now nobody, it's the most fertile plain in Nigeria. Just like Aide said there. Nobody is going to the farms anymore. I was interacting with folks from Aide in Aide this past weekend. Nobody goes to the farm anymore because of the fear of the Fulani.
Because they are afraid of the
Fulani
herdsmen. Yeah.
Yes, the fear of the Fulani is the beginning of wisdom.
That's terrible.
So, and we are saying there is a government in Nigeria, that Nigeria is not as bad yet as Somalia. It's even worse now. We must tell ourselves the truth. We must tell ourselves the truth. God bless us.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Another one. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Please do us a favor. Share. Share on Facebook, everywhere. I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one. Take care and God bless.